I have the Raptors, and I have since the beginning, but obviously this is a year where there are a lot of live teams. Celtics are one. But let me tell you why I like the Raptors. First of all, they're the defending champs. And even without Kawhi, Siakam had stepped up in the regular season. Now, that hasn't been the case in the postseason. But they've been able to get to a Game 7 in the second round against a very good Celtics team without Siakam at his best. Now, how have they done that? Number one, Nick Nurse is no longer an underrated coach because people keep talking about how he's an underrated coach. He's rated appropriately as an elite championship coach. Brad Stevens, before last year, got a lot more press than Nick Nurse, but Nick Nurse is staying right there with him game for game. What did he do last night? Well, I like Tice a lot. I think he's an above-average player at his position if you play him at the 5 for Boston. But what Nick Nurse saw is, look, if these Boston bigs can't score against us, then I'm going to tighten the rotation. And he really has 7 guys playing all the minutes. But when you look at Ibaka and Gasol combined, they really form a 6th guy, right? Like they're taking up a full game of minutes at one position, but in a double overtime game. So why is that? Because he could play Anunoby at the 5 now. If he doesn't think the bigs can score on him, he can play Anunoby at the 5. And what does that allow them to do? Anunoby, people forget, before last season, not this last one, but 2 years ago, even though Siakam emerged in the playoffs, it wasn't just like Siakam is going to be the guy and who's this Anunoby guy. It's like, look, they have 2 young, ascending, talented forwards. And Anunoby was being compared to a young, more athletic Draymond Green. But Anunoby wasn't available for the playoffs because of medical issues last year. And as a result, Siakam takes the step forward because of that, because Kawhi's there, he can be a second banana, and because he showed real stuff in last year's playoffs. As the man now, Siakam's not showing the same thing. But with Anunoby at the 5, they can do a kind of Warriors version of basketball. And the difference here is that while Kyle Lowry has been great, he's not Steph Curry. He's not going to create, like, Draymond Green was a guy who was just willing to shoot and could shoot it just well enough because Curry created all that space for him by shooting from such a distance. Rotations came late. Draymond had all the time in the world, could actually become a three-point threat. They could play 5 out with Draymond at the 5. That's not Kyle Lowry for the Raptors. However, Anunoby has a quicker release than Draymond. And he's not afraid to shoot that 3 either. And he's maybe more athletic than Draymond and obviously a lot younger, but like Draymond, can be a kind of Swiss Army knife style player for them. That's Nick Nurse realizing what he has, tightening the rotation, and matching up in a way that favored his team. All that said, obviously, when you look at the production of all 7 guys who really got minutes, name me one subpar player. They're all excellent players. They've all shown already that they can be part of a championship equation, not just Lowry and Van Vliet, and obviously the bigs in Gasol and Ibaka, but Norman Powell off the bench, who actually took a big step forward this year. And then who I just mentioned, the young forwards, Anunoby and Siakam, Molly. This is all without Siakam having a good game. What if he has a good game in Game 7? I like the Raptors.
No question. They've been beyond impressive, but obviously the Celtics not having Gordon Hayward. Max, let me ask you this. Game 7 tomorrow, who do you think's under more pressure?
If I had to pick a single player, I'd probably say
even
Siakam.
Team.
But probably the Celtics because they had the lead. Even though the Toronto Raptors are the defending champs, the Celtics are the team that looked like, oh, is this series over already? Even when Toronto won a game, it was like, yeah, but who's the better team? The Celtics had demonstrated that they were the better team. And since then, Nick Nurse has made some adjustments and unlocked this Raptors team who by the skin of their teeth have knotted it up 3-3. But you know what? The better team, in the NBA, it almost always wins. But maybe not always, especially not in a year like this. And I can point to other sports, like the 1960 World Series. Pirates beat the Yankees in 7 games. Bill Mazeroski's home run wins the game, right? But it's the series. But if you look at each game breakdown, the Yankees were beating the brakes off them in the games they won, and the Pirates were winning by the skin of their teeth. But at the end of 7 games, the Pirates won 4, the Yankees won 3, and the Pirates won the World Series. the same sort of thing could happen here. Even if you get the impression by the end of this series that the Raptors are not the better team. Normally doesn't happen like this in the NBA. But that the Celtics actually, I just watched them. I think they're better. Doesn't mean they're going to win. They're dealing with a champion. Even without Kawhi, the DNA of this team, they've been through it. They've experienced it, and they've, I think, grown from the experience last year. It's a tall order to beat this Raptors team. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.